we are all doing what we have to do to survive. And stress, I try not to let it stress me out, but it does. I mean, you get to the end of the month and you're thinking, okay, can I go to Aldi and get groceries, or am I going to be able to pay my rent?
Yep.
Is it stressful?
It is very stressful. It is very, very stressful because I'm a mom. And I want what's best for him and for my kids. So I'm going to do whatever. If that means eating ramen for the rest of my life, then I've done it. Then yeah, it's hard.
You hear about this movement and trying to find affordable housing and solutions for affordable housing. I just think it's so important for the community.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Solutionaries podcast. I'm producer Jeremy Allen.
And you've got to look yourself in the mirror and you've got to wonder, am I going to overpay?
What you're hearing right now is a panel of Floridians discussing the affordable housing crisis. This group got together in Central Florida with Solutionaries host Louis Bolden back late summer 2021.
I even asked the apartment complex when I called them up, when I got the lease renewal offer, I said, I know this place has been around since the 80s, the early 80s. Have you ever, in your like 40 years of increasing rents on people, have you ever offered the best offer, 17%? I mean, to me, that's absolutely insane. 17% in 1 year for the best offer. And if you just do the 12-month, it's 33%. No one gets a 33% raise.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, I do.
Our housing panel illuminated problems like these, problems that hit at the very core of existence, survival. Solutionaries focuses on creative problem solvers in communities working to make things better. In this episode, it's all about housing, affordable housing. According to Realtor.com's chief economist, Danielle Hale, 2023's housing market will look different than in recent years. The expectation is that it'll take longer for homes to sell and prices will increase slower than in 2022, but price tags are still going up. According to Hale, forecasts show a drop of about 14% in sales this year. But the market is still relatively hot, and in places like Central Florida, it's not easy to find affordable housing. And so, with concerns reaching panic levels for many, we searched for solutions.
Solutions-based journalism, looking at what we can do to solve problems that are affecting us.
This is Solutionaries correspondent Nadine Yanis.
Yes, we know that housing is a crisis all across the United States. It was a crisis here in Florida before the pandemic hit, but guess what? People did not stop moving to Florida.
Yanis is a Murrow Award-winning journalist, which is a big deal. She covered the housing boom in Central Florida, highlighting the volume of people flocking to the Orlando area, more than 1,500 per week back in the summer of 2021.
We stumbled upon a solution to a very big problem here, right?
Right, we're gonna deep dive into it. It's called a community land trust, where we actually spoke to a woman.
A community land trust. What is it, you might ask? Nadine?
Here's how it works. The trust, which is a nonprofit, acquires land either by donation or purchase with grants, and then builds a home on the land. When built, the home is then ready to sell to a qualified buyer, but those buyers are only paying for the building. The land, you see, stays in the trust. So if a typical home in the area is selling for $300,000, but the land value is $100,000, the new buyer only has to qualify for a $200,000 loan.
And these land trusts are all over the map, for instance, in Detroit.
So I was kind of familiar with the history of community land trust already. So we're here.
This is Eric Williams, managing attorney for the Detroit Justice Center. He's telling his story from the Oakland Avenue Urban Farm, about 4 miles north of downtown Detroit.
I think community land trusts can stabilize neighborhoods, create real affordable housing, and most importantly, give communities control over the type of development that happens within their borders. And I think that's really important, that people feel like they're empowered, have some role in how the place they live and raise their children and work develops and grows.
Now, every city, community, every neighborhood is unique, and an urban farm is different than a home. Still, the function of a community land trust remains the same.
Something does have to be done, and clearly that should be part of what we're doing, attracting new residents, right? But you can't ignore the residents who are here.
This farm in Detroit, well, it helps people and offers nutritious food options in an area many would refer to as a food desert. Now, back in Winter Garden, Florida, where the median home price is about $535,000, the land trust is making it so people can live a good life in a great location.
The land trust has been able to acquire 21 homes in the Hannibal Square neighborhood.
All of these homes in this cul-de-sac are the first homes that were built by the Community Land Trust.
And the homes aren't what you may think affordable housing looks like.
You wouldn't think that affordable housing would look like this.
Yeah, and you should, right?
Kent Kirsten enjoys his front porch and the safe, walkable neighborhood, and on a teacher's salary,
If you go 5 blocks, you hit Park Avenue.
could never imagine living just blocks from prestigious Park Ave.
It was, you know, there was a lot, like, again, this is a very affordable home, and it was still living here by myself, you know, at a time when I didn't have any roommates or anything. You know, it was still a hearty chunk of the paycheck was paying the mortgage.
And that was back in 2009. Now, housing prices across the nation are skyrocketing, with supply of homes for sale at an all-time low. In July of 2021, Orlando realtors say the median price of a home was $320,000, and wages here don't come close to cutting it.
I'm currently renting. This is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. It's about 1,200 square feet. We have space here. We're not uncomfortable. This is Nora. Nora is 6, and this is Trevin. Trevin is 11. He'll be 12 on Friday. Don't put shells in my biscuits.
The hot housing market keeping hardworking families like single mom Shavonna Reeves and her kids out of reach for home ownership.
I'm about $52,000 a year.
Tell me, how much was your mortgage approved for through the bank?
$210,000.
Now, what kind of houses are out there for $210,000?
I haven't even looked. I haven't even looked, mostly because I understand the inventory is low.
She's on the waiting list to get on the Hannibal Square Community Land Trust.
And so there is literally a rotisserie chicken that I'm warming up. We're gonna make some vegetables, and that's basically what we're making.
Reeves has dreams of a bigger kitchen, new appliances, and a piece of the American dream.
It's not so much that I'm tired of renting, it's that it's time. I have paid other people's mortgages for a very long time. I am 39 years old, and I have found that it is more accessible than I thought. I did not think it was within my reach for a very long time, and once I found out that these are the steps you can take to do these things, I was like, oh, yeah, I can do that. And it's actually mine? Great.
Reynolds Lewis admits the nonprofit is virtually priced out of Winter Park, but they are expanding. They're actually tripling in size. They have new property in Apopka, and this parcel here in Orlando will soon house 30 units, along with street-level retail businesses this neighborhood needs.
The Community Land Trust works best in neighborhoods that are right on the brink of gentrification, in transition, and also neighborhoods that are declining, actually, because if a neighborhood is declining, you know, people are starting to leave. That allows us to come in and acquire land less expensively. We can build homes, we can rehab homes, we can do things to try to help stabilize the neighborhood so that families will want to stay.
Organizing a land trust ain't easy. A quick Google search will bring you to a solid starting point, but it takes time, effort, and people to get it done. but it proves to be an effective measure to create affordable housing.
How's everybody?
And it's refreshing to know that efforts like Ivory Innovations exist.
Housing is one of the areas that has been slowest to innovate.
This is Abby Ivory, director of Ivory Innovations.
You know, the initial thought was, how do we invest in companies that are helping change and innovate and drive affordability, right? We realized a few things, and one of those is that policy and regulatory reform has such an intense impact on housing affordability. And so how do we combine that with this investment side? And so what we ended up coming up with was a program called the Ivory Prize.
Abby says the Ivory Prize is an annual event. $210,000 is won each year.
We have 3 different categories that we put companies in: public policy and regulatory reform, financial innovation, and then construction and design.
Abby says they're looking for people driving affordability. Now, the winner of each category splits that $210,000 and gets $70,000 of their own.
Then what we end up doing is working with the companies in a pretty intense way.
And this is about more than finding answers. It's also about fostering an environment where more good ideas can grow.
But one thing we also realize is the importance of getting this younger next generation involved in solving the problem.
In addition to directing Ivory Innovations, Abby is also the director of strategic projects at the University of Utah. In the spirit of creating better housing options, she and her team started an effort called Hack-A-House, which is a 24-hour brainstorming challenge asking students from all over to come up with ideas for housing affordability.
So KSWJ is a very young business. We're really just getting started.
This is Armel Cotant, one of 5 female engineers from Stanford University who co-founded something called KSWJ.
What we do is we help create tools to place apartments inside existing buildings.
And it's that idea that won them the 2020 Hack-A-House competition. Their toolkits are parts, panels, and things that can help transform existing empty buildings into functional living spaces. So in essence, taking things that already exist, maybe empty, and creating a livable space for someone to move into. KSWJ has won $80,000 in grant money on top of their Ivory Innovation win. These types of efforts are helping bring change, and change can be good or bad, right? But in this case, it's pointing towards progress. These solutions may seem small, or maybe you're like, great, what do I do with this information? But Abby says all of it, it matters.
Getting involved in your community at any level, I think, is important, and helping make sure people understand what's actually going on and like the truth, and helping them weave through some of these crazy things that kind of get caught out there that maybe aren't as true about like development and growth or change, because change is always hard for people. And a lot of times more housing means change. And so, helping people find the truth within the change, I think, is important.
Before we wrap production on our affordable housing playlist, we brought a group of housing experts together and had a discussion looking for even more answers on how to help the problem. And one of those contributors, Jamie Ross, who's the president and CEO of the Florida Housing Coalition, summarized things pretty neatly.
There's not one solution. It's very complex. There are lots of different tools. Some tools fall within the finance part of things, financing development, providing financing to developers, providing subsidies to households. The other half of the equation is land use. So it's both land use and financing that need to come together to provide many different solutions for affordable housing.
So Jamie's Florida-based, but those very same issues, a lot of the stuff we've talked about, is happening all over the country. You can see the full discussion with our housing experts, and make sure to watch the story about KSWJ so you can see what transformation looks like. Check it all out at youtube.com/Solutionaries. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Make sure that you hit that bell too. That way you know when we upload something new, and we're constantly putting solutions on that page and you don't want to miss them. Remember, we want to hear from you. Have you seen a creative solution recently? Do you know of awesome people in your community making it better? Maybe it's you. We want to hear about it, so make sure to leave us a review or a comment or email us at solutionaries@grammedia.com. That's GRAHAM media.com. Thanks for listening. Solutionaries is a Graham Media Group production.